I get this guy?
Sure, you take that guy for now.
Alright. He's a ninja! He's attacking your base. Alright, we'll start now then. How about that? You have to say 3, 2, 1. That's what.
3, 2, 1, start.
Hey everybody, welcome to, once again to Qyjari's Curious Crafts. We are here in sunny Florida, streaming live from Jamie's Craft Studio at the Real Tranquil. And we're going to be building something today.
Hi.
That's the one thing on your script.
I stuck to the script.
Alright, let's continue.
I'll look for that.
No, just get the regular one in case he screws up, then we can at least hear Madonna. You gonna stand up?
No.
He's a terrible singer, by the way.
Through the wilderness,
But I made it through.
didn't know how lost I was. I found
Check it out, guys. That's what it looks like up close. Is that good?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good.
See the different colors in there?
It could be good at a angle.
Oh, sure. So I look better at an angle too. How's that?
That was
Is that
flawless.
better?
Perfect. Flawless.
Okay, so we still have a bunch to finish, but here is we need little red lights so that
I know, so you know where to look.
Oh, we're not that sophisticated yet.
Yeah, we're not that.
$1.
All going to the Trevor Project.
Yes, all going.
Clover's here. Hi, everybody.
You got her
I
good.
had to do that. I'm sorry for your ears.
She's gonna start crying.
I'm sorry.
I'm holding a laptop on my lap.
I'm not really sorry.
Well, I never.
But that'll be fine.
It's weird. I'm actually like getting to a point where keeping up with chat's kind of difficult now.
That's
That is,
Well,
it is good,
stuff
but
my stockings.
oh my goodness!
Rylan with the 200 bits. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Was that the stuff my stocking?
That was the stuff my
I love
stockings.
that. That was one of Jimmy's
That was
things to
good.
me. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Rainick, amazing.
That's what I suggested to him because I said, "What are some?"
And we are live.
Woo! Cowabunga! Woohoo! We are going partially submerged tonight, folks. I'm so excited. Welcome to Qyjari's Curious Crafts and Miramore. Woo!
From friends?
You?
You?
I don't think so.
No.
He does look like Ross from Friends. Oh, come on. See? I hope that was recorded. Was that recorded?
Sailing in at you.
Hello! Welcome to Qyjari's Curious Crafts. Crafts so easy, even a monkey can do it.
What'd you do, Ray?
I have to get my.
By the way, but I'm drinking. If you're new, not new. If you're tuning in
These-
just now, I'm drinking.
Look at that. These halflings were drunk when they built this. Look at that. It's so. Ah!
Well, look what the cat dragged in.
Somebody please clip that.
Half-hour show? Half-hour show?
A half-hour show. We're 7 minutes over. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Can I come up now?
Yeah, you can come up now.
I'm never gonna get this thing off my butt.
Yeah, probably.
Ho, ho, ho! Good tidings! stuff my stockings. Welcome to the stream.
Let's go back, shall we? Hello! Welcome to Qyjari's Curious Crafts! Oh, hi there! Thank you, Rainik, for helping me out there with the sound. Okay, so let's start again, because I don't want to leave anybody out of the of what I just said. I am Ann Palmer with Qyjari's Curious Crafts, and today on Aunt Ann's Tree, I am going to be making Cucumber, this adorable little well, I guess he's a
Oh, brilliant!
felted friend is what they call them. Hey, Lego Wingfile, glad to see you here today. I have bronchitis and I am on medication and I am out of it. So I just had to start all that again because I was muted and spider on the table. Okay, so let's get started. All right. Fast forward. Do you guys want to see me make chili pepper or jalapeno pepper next week for Cinco de Mayo? Either one. Just let me know which one you want me to make. They're relatively easy. These are get them done in one episode type of crafts. I want to give a huge shout out, thank you, to Perception Studio. You see their link right there below? Right there. Along with a picture right here of our friend Cucumber. That's who I'm making today. Woohoo! Chili pepper. Okay, I got a chili pepper. Awesome. They shouldn't make the mute button on the Yeti microphone so sensitive because that's what I must have hit when I started. So anyway, tools and materials for Cucumber here. We've got felt. Again, these are just scraps I had as of yesterday because I whipped this together quickly. I don't even have a pattern done. If you went to my Aunt Ann's Tree Discord category channel, there's no pattern there. I basically cut it out using some grid paper that of course all D&D players have on hand. So I quick cut out some pattern here and I cut out enough to make one cucumber. I didn't have hair yesterday, but when I dropped Clover off at choir last night, Littlest and I ran to the fabric store and found this luxurious hair. So we've got hair for our cucumber. Okay, so if you're wondering, Cucumber and Chunk are two of the D&D players on a game called Perception Check on Perception Studio here on Twitch, and it's hysterical. It is. They were guests of Nerdsmith yesterday during the Discover RPG program, and I laughed so much just watching the interview. It was so much fun. So I thought, well, I'll put together this little ornament idea and see how it flies. Kind of thinking it was going to be a joke, and got some good response. So hey, guess what I'm making today? I'm making cucumber. All right, so let's get started. Some of the tools and materials you need. Obviously, you need felt, and I've got the 5 colors here that I've used. You'll also need corresponding DMC floss. I use DMC, but you can use any 6-stranded floss. Of course, I've got the green there for his face, red for the smile. He's got these purpley bags, I guess, around his eyes. You can see in the picture there. And of course, white for the eye and the teeth, and black for the pupils. Hey, welcome! Thank you so much. Thank you for following. As far as the other materials you need, I don't know if we're going to do this or not, but I thought maybe we could put a sparkle in Cucumber's eye. So I've got some white sequins here with some seed beads. So if we decide to do that, then I've got those here. We'll vote on that when the time comes for that. Also, I went and got, like I said, at a fabric store, this, I guess it's like a boa material. It's kind of thick in the center, like there's a rope in there. And it looks, I know it looks blue. It might look blue on your monitor, but this is actually purple. I don't know why, but I'm looking at my monitor as I'm watching this, and it looks blue, but this is the purple of his hair. I looked for an old purple shag rug at the Goodwill, but couldn't find one, so I had to go to Joann's. You'll also need some 1/8" silk ribbon, and this is, of course, for the ornament hanger holder at the top. I'm going to just whip that up real quick. You all know how to do it if you follow me. You'll need about 3 inches tied in a loop, and this will be saved for later when we sew his head together. I need to put my readers on. I am not feeling well. I have bronchitis, and I'm on all sorts of medication. That messed up. I'm going to cut that and start all over again. In fact, I DM'd Tuesday night for Nerdsmith for our sub drive. It is currently our sub drive the last 2 weeks in April. We're looking for subscribers to nerdsmith.org. You see the link there on the top right of your screen above Sir Mimsy. And this helps us bring more quality but free programming to all the nerds, spread the love all around. So this is part of our sub drive 2019. And that's the other reason why I thought I would make Cucumber, since the Perception Studio helped us out with that interview yesterday. Okay, so that's all we need for the ribbon, is this one little 3-inch piece tied into a little loop there. Well, let me catch up on chat. Oh my goodness, Twin Tam Tam, hello. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope I bring him justice. I think he's hysterical, and Chunk is too. Although I didn't have any blue fur to make Chunk, but maybe he will be next up on the list. As far as other materials that you'll need, of course you'll need stuffing. Always get the as high quality as you can of stuffing, and that way it doesn't pill or lump up. You'll also need some sewing needles, and if you're going to add the twinkle to his eye, you'll need beading needles, which have a smaller eye. You'll also need pins to attach your pattern to the felt, but I've already done that, so we're skipping that step. I have some hemostats here. We're not going to perform surgery on Cucumber, but we'll stuff him, and I find that hemostats or a fine sewing or knitting needle rather helps stuff corners. Of course, he doesn't really have any corners. He's kind of round. He'll be easy to stuff. I'll set those aside. You'll measure that was there for the picture. You'll need sewing scissors, of course. This is the ornament hanger that I always use to show it at the end. Some pins. Of course, your Surebonder glue gun. Surebonder needs to sponsor me, so I need my shout outs. Rainek, my usual shout out. I've already got it turned on. Oh, and guess what? This is a fabric glue stick. There we go. Thank you. This is a fabric glue stick, and I have used this several times, and it really works. And they sent this to me, so I can't say that I said that for free, but they did send me a gift bag of swag. But even if they hadn't sent that to me, I still would definitely endorse Surebonder. They are the best glue gun I've ever used. All right, let's get started. If you have followed me before and watched me work on craft projects and these ornaments, you know that everything's done in a layer. So the first thing we're going to do is attach the bottom layer, which are the circles under his eyes and his smile. I'm going to do the circles first. We're going to attach these using our running stitch, using our coordinating purple, or actually it's more like lavender floss. DMC floss comes, and several other brands of floss comes in 6 strands. We only need 2 of those, so I'm going to separate that real quick. I just put all this stuff together yesterday, guys. And this morning, I was still running around about 5 minutes ago, obviously muting my mic, since the first 8 minutes of my show was muted. But you know, that's what happens when I self-produce and I'm on medication. I probably do, putting on my readers. Yeah, I do need to do that, you're right. That's the next thing. So I'm only going to use 2 strands out of the 6. I will save the others for later. I keep all my floss in these little baggies. Helps me keep track of it, along with the label that has the number on it as to what number they are. And that's how I keep track of all my ornaments. If you're interested in my ornaments, you can go to my Etsy shop. It's easy to find. It's at Aunt Anne's Tree. Now, I won't have cucumber or chunk ornaments up there. I don't know what their licensing policies are, so I don't want to do that until I find out anything about licensing. I am very, very concerned always with making sure that I do the right thing when it comes to character licensing. But because they gave me the thumbs up and followed me on Twitter, I figure, well, I don't think they'd mind if I made my version, some fan art, as it were, of cucumber. All right, so typically on my crafts, on my ornaments, I do a blanket stitch around the outside, but all my interior stitches are generally just a straight running stitch. And I have I say I have it. Where'd I put it? Here it is. I have a sample of what that looks like. It'll be hard to see with the lavender thread against the lavender felt, but this is what it looks like. I'll hold it up to the camera. It's this stitch here, not this one, this one. It's just a running stitch in and out, just very, very easy stitch to do. So I've tied a knot at the end, and actually I've trimmed this one, but I need to trim this one. Like I said, I cut these out hastily yesterday, and this one didn't get as trimmed as nicely as the other one. So let me just make that a little nicer. I use sewing scissors, of course, for fabric only. Don't use your mom's good sewing scissors for anything but fabric. That's if she lets you use them. Because it will, and if you use it on paper or anything else, it will dull them. Okay, so I've got good quality felt, by the way. That's another thing. If you're just tuning in to watch my show, always get good quality felt. The thicker the better. It definitely holds the design much better. Okay, so we want his eyes about there. And we're just going to do that running stitch around. I'm going to start on the inside, because when I go to the next one, after I go around, it'll be easy to just switch over and do that other one. I know, I do need to have that "you better not use my good scissors" like on a poster. I've seen a meme with it. It's really funny, about borrowing someone's sewing scissors, and it has this like yes/no chart. And most of the paths you take on it ends with hell no. But it's funny. Something about cutting a tin can open or returning it within 10 minutes. It's funny. So how's everybody doing today? Is the pollen bad in your area? It's what gave me bronchitis. I haven't had bronchitis in years, although there is a funny story behind my having bronchitis, and I probably shared this with some of you. But my brother came home from work one day. This was years ago. This was probably 15, 20 years ago. And came over to see how I was doing. He knew I had bronchitis and was having to sleep up in a chair. It was a really bad case of it. I was even on some pain meds for it. And I guess the pain meds were making me hallucinate. So he said, "Hey sis, how you doing?" And he was being all gentle and everything. And I looked straight at him and I said, "Oh, I took my arm off today." And he said, "You did?" And I said, "Yeah, but I put it right back on." And he said, "Okay, good." And then I fell back to sleep, and he told me about that later. So I must have been on some pretty good meds. Lots of snow. Okay, yeah, that's a 4-letter word in my household. yuck. Yeah, see how he knows it's a bad word. I probably have it on my channel, have that word as a bad word. And you get, yeah, good idea. That's why you censored it. Good call. So I will work on the chili pepper for next week in honor of Cinco de Mayo. That is one of the more easier craft projects that I do, although it's very different with the hat on it. Alright, this is just an hour-long program. I didn't pre-sew anything, so we're just gonna have a nice relaxing stream. You can enjoy some music in the background. I've got Qyjari's theme going. Did everyone enjoy their holiday weekend? Was the Easter Bunny good to you? Bring you chocolates. Easter Bunny brought Drake some black jelly beans. He's the only one in the house who enjoys the black jelly beans, so no one fought him over that. Mimsy tunes. Following this program, of course, we're going to raid Autumn. I believe she's in the channel. She is an excellent artist and does some drawing over on her Twitch channel. She is a contributor to Nerdsmith, and we really appreciate her being a part of our family. I say that like she's new. I'm newer than she is. She's been a part of the family longer than I have. Yeah, it is. That's true. I like jelly beans too, but I've been trying to watch my girlish figure, so I didn't buy any jelly beans. And Clover has wears braces, so no jelly beans allowed. I had to get things that they could eat. For the eyes, once I get these kind of the purpley shadows under his eyes sewn on, I'm going to partially sew the white part, and then we're going to lightly stuff them so they bug out a little bit, just like they do in the in that picture there you see. And that's a technique that we used. Where did we use that? On was it the, what did we make? Was it the pig? It was something. We had it kind of bump out a little bit and look a little more 3D. Okay, so let's match that up on the other side. When I was putting this together, I was laughing because I thought, well, either I'm going to make Cucumber or I'm going to make the Ninja Turtle. One of the Ninja Turtles. Which Ninja Turtle is got the purple? I can't remember. Hey, Demon Tooth! I assume that's how you pronounce your name. Oh, it was his birthday. Oh yeah, every 11 years. Yeah, it falls on. I know that because when my birthday is on December 13th, and every 11 years or so, it's a Friday. Sometimes it skips, and it's like every 4th year. I forget. There's some skip in there, but I've had several birthdays fall on Friday the 13th. Donatello. He's the one with the purple mask. So either we'll be making Cucumber or we're making Donatello. But thank you all for the new subscribers. I really appreciate it. Not subscribers, rather followers and viewers. Thank you. Even if you're just lurking, I really appreciate everybody who tuned in today. It's usually very quiet, but after yesterday's interview on Nerdsmith, we are Nerdsmith with the group of friends from Perception Studio and Perception Check, I had to do this little guy. He's such a cutie. And like I was telling everyone earlier, I would do Chunk also, but I didn't happen to have a big pile of blue fur to make an ornament. There's no giveaway today. I am going to send this once it's made. Of course, I hope it turns out nice. If it turns out like crap, maybe I won't send it. But if it turns out cute, I will send it on to Cucumber's, what does he call him? His manager? Handler? Something. There's a word for it. I have the air on down here. It is hot here. I am in Atlanta. And it is hot here today. Hot and muggy because it's supposed to rain. So, my streaming studio is in the basement, but I didn't turn the air up, and I probably should have. Oopsie. Knots are not our friend. I'll show you a trick to help eliminate those knots. Because I know you're all following along at home. Gotta be gentle with them when you're pulling them out. Or you'll make the knot worse, and you'll end up having to snip the thread and redoing it. What you can do is just hang your thread down like this and let it kind of untwist. There we go. And that helps a lot to keep it from knotting up. Alright, we're almost done with this, and then we're going to get to the eyes. And we're going to do this running stitch again with the eyes, the white part of the eyes. And like I said, we're going to sew them most of the way. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. Thanks, Demon Tooth. I appreciate it. If you enjoy Perception Studio, you'll enjoy this channel simply because we do a little bit of everything. We do felted ornaments on Thursdays at this time, and on Fridays and Tuesdays we do D&D stuff. I am an avid D&D player, DM, and I enjoy making, well, I think it's pretty cool looking terrain. And you can find some of my builds on YouTube under Qyjari, my YouTube. I think the links are all below. If not, I have to redo that. I've got to redo my Twitch page. I've been very busy. With the Nerdsmith drive, it's been very busy. I DM'd Tuesday night for Nerdsmith, and it was so much fun. It was fun putting that homebrew together, and it was fun DMing. Those players were excellent, and they solved the mystery quickly. I was so pleased. I meant to ask if anybody wanted me to finalize that one shot and make it available for other people to do for their. Thank you, Autumn. I could do that. That's what I do on Friday nights at 7 o'clock East. I write one-shot campaigns with the help. It's an interactive stream with the help of my audience. They provide all sorts of information for the story, names and places and events and creatures, and we homebrew creatures. We're finishing up with Aboard the Diamond's Light, in which it's going to be an airship battle against the Queen's longboat. And we're finishing up that tomorrow night here on the station at 7 o'clock East. And my crafting program is on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock East. This is my only afternoon show. It's my lunchtime casual show. And I do have a producer for Qyjari's Curious Crafts on Tuesdays. That goes a little more smoothly, and Drake gets to chat along with everybody on the stream. You don't just see my hands the whole time. I'm missing some chat. You guys are going so fast. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay, you can have him. You're here. I was calling you Demon Tooth. I see now it's Demon Tooth, which sounds just the same. You're here. Do you want this little ornament? I will send him to you if you want him. Yeah, we're just introducing steampunk to my world of Amon-Rath. It's a homebrew world. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow night. Finish that story up. And then I always make all my stories available. Of course, I haven't gotten time to edit the last bits of them. Like I said, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. Okay, I'm trimming the eyes. Alright, so we're going to do the running stitch again around this one. Give him his little... And we're going to leave it open as we go around. Heck yeah, I want him! Okay, good! I hope he turns out nice. I will, I saw your profile on LinkedIn and I assume that's the correct address. I will send him off to your attention at that address unless you want to DM me a separate address. You can, well, you follow me. I think you follow me on Twitter now. We got together as friends on Twitter yesterday after I made that post. So yeah, just send me a DM where you want me to send him when I'm done. And then, like I said, I'll have to find some blue furry felt to make one for Chunk, and maybe Willow too. Willow is the little pink creature. You see, monster, you see, felted friend down there below. I couldn't find your logo, your official logo, so I found a font that looked similar, so sorry. Sorry if I butchered your logo, but I wanted to give you a shout out here on my stream. Oh, the terrain is so much. I'm already back in chat. Sorry, I'm skipping around. The chat is, oh, thank you, Rainick. The terrain is a lot of fun. One of my most prized possessions is Shade Merc, which is named after, it's a giant mushroom village, and it's named after one of Matt Mercer's homebrew areas in his Feywild. And we had a blast putting that one together. That was several episodes last fall. I'm currently working on one called Miramore, but it has stymied me. My viewers are awesome, and with their encouragement, it's become a vertical terrain piece that is going to have a front and a back. And so working vertically is a little difficult, and I've had some, I'm going to have some issues with some foam insulation that I'm having to spray outside, and oh my goodness, it's just been nuts. So I've set that aside, and I'm working on some flat terrain in the meantime. I just need a little break from Miramore. All right, so I'm not finishing that. I'm not closing that stitch because I'm going to give it a little stuffing. All right, here's where our hemostats are going to come in handy. We're going to stuff just a little bit and see how it looks. We don't need a lot. And I love using felt. It just looks so nice, and it just sits so nicely. You don't need the hemostats if you don't have them, but I did get they're not that expensive on. I think I got them on Amazon. I stuff. I don't know if you saw at the very beginning. I make these fairies.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for following. Hey, Gartic. I make these fairies. I don't make them as much anymore. If you saw at the beginning of the show, there's one sitting behind me. That's Rajan. And I needed those because they have very tiny sewn fingers. And I stuff each finger with a piece of wire and some stuffing. And then they're, I think it's, what's the word, matriculated? They can move with the wire in it. And they're tiny. I'll show you at the end. I'm giving these eyes a trim to be smooth. Okay, so let's make sure this lines up. And just give that a go. And this one looks smaller because it's stuffed, but this one it'll look the same. Now, hey, you know what? Since you're here, Mr. Montooth, would you like to put a little sparkle on Cucumber's eye? And that would be with the white sequins. I'll show you that in a second. It's up to you, of course, being his manager. There's a knot in here. You know what? I'm not going to worry about that knot. I think it'll pull through just fine. On the pupil part, we could put a little, I've got here the sequins and a seed bead, and just give it a little shine, a little sequins, a little oomph. We'll see what it looks like in a second. Like I said, I've got my Surebonder glue gun hot and ready to go, and we're not going to sew the black part on. A, it's so small, you wouldn't be able to see the stitches anyway, and B, gluing it on will make it much flatter and look nicer. Therefore, since we're gluing it on, if we're going to do the sequins, we need to do it prior, because you do not want to try to put a beading needle through dried glue gun glue. That does not work well at all. Okay, all right, well, let's see what it looks like. Gives him a little bit of a twinkle in his eye. As we know, Cucumber is up to no good, usually. I haven't seen all the perception check shows, but it's on my watch list for sure now because I enjoyed the couple that I've seen. And I definitely enjoyed the interview yesterday on Nerdsmith. Okay, so we've gotten around almost to the other side, so let's give this a little bit of a stuffing. Alright, and then I'm going to leave that attached because I'm going to sew it up when it's done. I don't think I used that much for the other eye. Okay. Hey, T-Girl. I didn't see you pop in. Thank you so much. I got Cucumber's handler in the room with us today. How fun is that? I'm all nervous now. I gotta do this right. The cucumber is in the room. And here I am with a terrible bronchitis. I don't usually sound this bad. Okay. So, there's the eyes. Let's give it a good knot in the back to keep it from coming out. And we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna glue on the pupils. But before we glue them on, let's decide if we want to put a sparkle on the eye. Okay. There's the pupils, and we want the sequins. Isn't it awesome, Rainick? Okay, so there's the little sparkle in his eye. We'll do it not in the center. We'll do it off a little bit. What do you think? Do you want the sparkle in his eye, or should we just leave it plain like you've got him? I don't want to ruin a good thing. It's kind of hard to see. I could lift him up. See if I can lift him up without it rolling off. There, what do you think? The little sparkle in the eye? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I've done it for so long. I'm kind of old. Very old. So do you want the sparkle in his eye, you think? Or should we just leave it as is? Sparkle him up. All right. I think this is a beading needle on here. If not, I guess we'll find out. Okay. So like I said, we're going to want to do this before we glue it, because that will not poke through very well, and it is not a beading needle. Figures. I'm gonna find a smaller needle here. This one's good. All right. I'm actually kind of surprised at the stitching, since I'm having to create this about a foot away from my face. Uh-oh. Gotta get that. Sometimes I use a needle threader, but I usually end up breaking the needle threader. And B, I always can't, I can never find one. Oh boy. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. I should have some hot tea, although that'll just make me more warm. It's hard to see, I know, because it's such a tiny little piece. And one of the threads is not pulling through correctly. There it goes. So there, I'll hold it like that. I'm just going to attach that to the edge of his eye and the pupil, and we will glue it on at the location where we want in a second. But let me give it a knot in the back. I'm not too worried about the knot because it will be glued again. And that'll keep it from coming out. Normally when I bead, because my ornaments, they're not made as toys. They're not made to be toys. But because I know children will handle them, I tend to bead, sew the beads on 2 or 3 times around so that they don't come off. Because ornaments are tempting. They're glittery, they're shiny, they're cute. So kids will reach for them. So I try to make them as child-proof as possible. But I still like to err on the side of caution and give you a warning that a lot of these are not made for children. Okay. Okay. So when I glue that, that'll stick on a little bit more. Let's see. Where do we want that sparkle? Do we want his eyes to be straight out like that? Straight out? Yeah. Just like in the picture, right? Definitely. Okay. So now we're going to glue it. And like I said, I use my Sherbunder glue gun with the fabric glue. And this does not dry clear. So you have to be very cautious so that when you do this, you're not going to put it near the edge. You're going to put it in the center. And let it kind of splurt out. Err on the side of not enough than too much. Because as you push down on that, it will spread that glue out. There we go. I can't wait to put his hair on. That's going to be hysterical. Jay had a great idea yesterday. He suggested you could, if you can't find this fluffy stuff at the fabric store, you could take some yarn and fray it, some purple yarn, if you want to make your own cucumber. Okay, there his eyes are done. Oh, he's so cute, and look at the sparkle. All right, so now we're going to do his mouth, and that's with the red, and I've already cut it out. This, I decided to do an open mouth one. I saw pictures of him with his mouth closed, but I like the idea of adding a little bit of color. And then I wanted to get his teeth in there. And his teeth kind of end not quite to the, on that one side, have a little bit of a gap there. And I think for the white, I'm going to glue the white on. I think with the stitching, it'll make his teeth look like they have problems. So we're going to glue just the red on around this part here. And here, and then we're going to cover this part with glue. I think that'll give us a little more control over how that looks on there. So let's get the red done. I'm going to make sure I have time to get the hair on. So I'm going to have to speed it up a little bit here. This is an hour-long program. I have a... Of course, I could take a break, I suppose. I could take a small break and come right back and finish up. My youngest gets off the school bus around 2:20. So maybe if I'm not done by then, I will do that. I will take a small break and get her off the bus. Only takes about 5 minutes. And then come back and finish Cucumber up. I don't want to rush him. I want to make sure he's done correctly. Again, this is a running stitch. You don't have to do a fancy stitch for this one. You can if you want, but I found that when I did my ornaments and I had a lot of little pieces on them, the inside stitches didn't look as nice when they were the blanket stitching around the edges. It just looked too cumbersome, too busy, and not as smooth and pretty. So I switched to the running stitch, which looks nicer, but also is easier for me to do, especially if I'm using a black felt, because black felt with the black floss, embroidery floss, is very difficult to see. I actually have to do it while I'm outside or with the direct sunlight on the table. I have studio lights on here, but my windows also, my curtains are also open here in the basement with some well, it's a little overcast here, but some light coming in. Whoopsie. Uh-oh. Oh, I've got a piece of... That's strange. Oh, I know what happened. The knot came through. It formed a knot on itself. Of the end. Oh, that is strange. What happened there? I guess I'll just give that a clip. I don't know how that happened. There we go. Thank you, Rainick. Rainick and I have been trying to get SureBonder to sponsor this program probably since what, last October? Thank you. Thank you so much, Twin Tam Tam. I have sent SureBonder prizes out to people, glue sticks. It was started out to be a joke, and then it kind of got serious. all my wonderful viewers one time did a mass plea to SureBonder to just give me a shout out, and they did. And then they sent me a bunch of swag, which was really sweet. This is an easy stitch, just straight up. Thank you, Autumn. What are you going to be working on after the show? After my show? What are you going to be drawing? Are you going to continue with that character you were working on last week? She has a book that she's illustrating, I think. I don't want to misrepresent what she's doing. She's such a talented artist. And I love watching her. She always has the nicest calming music down. It's like a yoga. You could just sit there and meditate listening to her draw. It must be me, maybe, just listening to some of the sketching sounds that she draws. And she does it on the computer, but still, the sounds that she makes. Mountains, okay. Is it the mountains from that lighthouse one that you were working on before? Because that's really cool with all the rocks. She was getting frustrated with the rocks. When I have a mess up on the string like this, because I have so much of it, I should have probably not have used this huge piece. But I find that if I just gently tug on it, it fixes itself. You can see that there's a knot, not a knot, but it's wrapped around itself at the base, and it's about to form a knot like that. So that's how that happens. He's looking good. I like the bug eyes. I liked that idea. I can't remember what project I did those on before. It was something recent. It wasn't the leprechaun or the mermaid. It seemed like it was something, though. We kind of made the little mound of it stand out. It must have been the pig, maybe. Maybe it was his snout. Maybe it was the pig's snout. I don't know, something. Thank you. Thank you, Autumn. Okay. I am going to have to nope, it went away. I wondered what that sound was. My house phone was ringing. But they went away. My ringtone on my phone is Don't Stop Believin' by Journey, because like I've mentioned before, I'm old. And that was an anthem of my youth. The original. When Steve Perry sang it. Okay, it's starting to get a little bit, I'm gonna let it kind of untwist there. I can feel like it's starting to get a little pull on it. I don't want this to, here we go. This is the last thing that we need to stitch before we can start the outside. Because we're gonna glue that smile on. South Detroit. I know that. I was born in Detroit. Not South Detroit. Just like there's no Mackinac too, right, Rainick? We've had that discussion before. Yeah, that's the only, what is that, the only major Canadian city south of Detroit? Windsor? Mackinac. I have some very fond memories of my life up in Mackinac. My family had a area they camped in every year, cabins. I learned to ski on Black Lake up there. Not the big lake. Not the big lake, but one of the lakes near Mackinac, Traverse City. Or not Traverse City, what's the name? Sheboygan, that area up there. Okay. Look at that big old smile on Cucumber. Isn't he cute? Oh, you know what? D. Montooth. Is that short for Danny? Is it Danny? Can I call you Danny? Daniel? David? Dwayne? What is it? Oh, I went to camp in Ypsilanti. Yeah, not Charlevoix. Yeah, Charlevoix's up there. Danny! Okay, good. Okay, so now I forgot what I was going to ask. I was going to ask you something and now I just forgot what it was. Oh my goodness, I have lost it. Oh, I've got a knot in the back there. You know how I'm going to fix that knot so it doesn't come undone? I'm going to give it a little touch with the glue. There. Now that won't come undone. I didn't even notice that before. Man, I was going to ask you something and now I can't remember what it was. It was important too. It had something to do with our pal here. Okay, so I've knotted that, and we are going to, let's push that aside, clean that up later. We're gonna get the smile on. I'm not gonna put it's already dried. Yay. Okay, so his little smile is on the very edge right there, all the way across. And I don't want to bring it down like this because I don't want that red to show. I'm gonna tuck it over the top just a little bit like that. And bring that down. And it's obviously too big, so I'm going to trim that. But I think I'm going to trim it as I glue it. I'm going to glue it first, then trim it. Aww. Okay. I'm going to put it on here. Glue guns are awesome, but they're finicky. So always be careful about, I'd practice. Sometimes the glue comes out fast, sometimes slow. Sharponder's good about being pretty steady, but just take it nice and easy. It's very difficult to repair any mistakes when you use glue gun, especially on a felt. You can see it right there. I'm gonna just give that a trim with my scissors and it'll go away. I could do that. I'm the mom. I used my good sewing scissors for that, but that's okay. I'm the mom. All right. Okay, before we get to the end, I'm gonna give it a trim. So I think it goes right to the end. Okay, Danny, that's good. I'll call him Danny. Okay, so I've got a little trim there. Get that smile all the way, or that teeth all the way to the end there. Oops. There we go. Danny's a good name. Good solid name. Okay. Look at that cute cucumber. Oh, no, I don't want to show you, Danny. Here's what you can threaten a cucumber if he doesn't behave. Here's one of my other ornaments that I made. You could turn him into a pickle. Look at that little guy. Say, cucumber, if you don't behave, you're going to be a pickle. All right, now, who's going to remind me when I do this to stop at the top to put that in? So I need someone to remind me, because you know what happens. I'll get going and I'll completely forget. That's not going to be enough. Pickles were one of my biggest sellers one year when I made them. I go to craft shows here locally in Atlanta, and I sell them. I haven't done it in a couple years though, but one year the pickles were that, and the bacon. I make bacon ornaments too. In fact, if you are I didn't think about this. I should have said this, especially during Subdrive Week. If you are a Nerdsmith subscriber, you have access to all sorts of bonus content, and that includes a video I did here on Twitch on how to make your very own bacon ornament. And they're so cute. They have a big old smile on them too, just like the cucumber did. And the chili peppers. I'm separating these once again. There were 6 strands. You only need 2. All right, for this one, we're going to do the blanket stitch around the outside. Let's get that off there. Okay. Okay. You don't need a beading needle for this. You just need a regular sewing needle. Oh, I've got some glue on my finger. Yeah, believe it or not, I have my readers on. Still having a hard time saying that I. Okay. A blanket stitch is something you would see on a pillow or an exterior of a blanket, a fleece blanket to hold it together. It looks like that. And I'll show you how to start that. I'm going to start at the bottom, and I always start at the bottom because that's where you're going to stuff it, and that's where you don't want the stitches. The stitches are kind of hidden on the bottom. You're going to start this blanket stitch by putting your needle partially through, not to the other side. See how it's not all the way to the other side? It's just skimming the top, and that buries your knot. And that's the other reason why we use very similar floss to the felt. You can't see it on this side, and the reason why is because we're going to start that blanket stitch right there. And the way you do that is you go about 1/4 of an inch in, and it depends again on the size of your project. If you have a large project, you could do larger than 1/4 of an inch, and if you have a smaller project like the bacon, you would use a smaller stitch. I believe we used a smaller stitch for our mermaids last week too. The first stitch goes straight up and through the loop like that. And that's the starter stitch. And then you go over about 1/4 of an inch and pull through just like that. And give it a gentle pull. You don't have to pull tight. this is another reason why I enjoy working with felt so much, is you don't have to worry about hemming it. It doesn't fray on the ends, especially the good quality felt. Believe it or not, I found this felt at Walmart. I was shocked. I usually buy felt squares at fabric stores or hobby stores, craft stores, but I was able to find very nice, thick. It's a guessing game though. When you go, sometimes you get felt so thin you can see through it. You don't want to use that. But I lucked out and found this felt. It was very thick and nice. Now I know some hobby stores purposefully sell different qualities of felt in their felt squares, and some, like the larger fabric stores, sell it by the yard. And I do buy it by the yard for some of my projects, like my gingerbread, my hula gingerbread ornaments. I use that brown that's sold by the yard. I use that brown all the time for a variety. I make a Christmas mousse out of it, not the kind you eat. And I use that color brown for a lot of my ornaments. Okay, who's gonna stop me when we get to the top? Because you know me, I'm just gonna fly right past it and forget to put that loop in. I think we probably need to have a running chart, or like we did the Clover scare cam. When my associate producer gets scared, we have a count of how many times that Sir Mimsy pops up and scares her on the screen. We should have a count for how many times I leave that loop off the top. Yeah, there it is. I don't have it on active on this channel since she's at school now. We're going to be introducing some new programs to this this channel soon. I think I've got my brothers talked into doing more Banana Brothers on the stream, so look for that coming soon. Also, they were, if you saw the intro video that I played for the Nerdsmith subdrive, that was the one of them was the one singing the Madonna song in that one clip. But we enjoy it. They live in Florida, so we don't get to see. They're my real brothers. They don't get to see each other and play together that much. So we thought maybe we'd start playing online. Oh, really? What kind of moose? Like a pillow or a stuffed animal or what? You don't mean the chocolate mousse, right? Okay, look, I didn't forget. I remembered it. We're going to take our loop. This is the loop that the ornament hanger will go on. And we're going to tuck that knot that we created in there. And we're going to sew it right there in the center. I'm going to go through and then I'm going to show this to you up close in a second, how I did this so that you'll see. There, you can kind of see how that's coming together like that. Oops, this way. And then give it a pull. And that holds that ribbon on there. The other thing that we're going to do this summer, while the younger kids at least, are out of school, we're going to have a show called Learning Recurve. And everybody, all my kids, have some sort of talent. And we're all going to teach each other how to do stuff. My older daughter is going to teach my youngest daughter to draw. Del Mori is the one who drew Sir Mimsy. You see him there with his Santa hat on. She's working on other poses for me too. And she's going to show my youngest, who has shown some proclivity for artwork, how to do some other kinds of drawing. And Clover wants to, she's my 14-year-old, or will be 14 soon. She wants to show her brother Drake how to play the guitar. She really can't play that well, but they want to teach each other. And she also wants to learn how to sew one of these ornaments, but she wants to do a dragon. She's a huge dragon fan. Yeah, it was funny. I was watching the interview yesterday. Oh my goodness. And I was watching with my 10-year-old, and now keep in mind, I let her watch Critical Role with me, so I'm not one of those parents that we talk about language and words appropriate and not appropriate. But I guess Cucumber must have dropped the F-bomb during the interview, and she howled with laughter. She thought that was the funniest thing, simply because she has never seen a Muppet type character curse, and we laughed so hard at that. It was so much fun. She was just totally taken by surprise. Okay, I'm not going to have enough to finish around this part, so I am going to knot this here and get another piece, because I don't want to have a small piece and worry about that not fitting. I've tied it there, and the way I bury the stitch once it's knotted is I go inside the fabric, the felt, where I can't see the needle, and then I poke the needle out like I've done there, and then I'm going to give that a little snip right at the edge as I'm gently pulling, and it kind of hides that thread in there, and then you can't see the tail end of that thread. I didn't get enough. Oh, I poked him in the eye. Ow. Oh yeah, well, I mean, I think it's totally fine. You know, you run the show your way you want, and it's up to the parents to decide if they allow their children to take part in it. I'm not a very conservative parent when it comes to that. We teach our children what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and what they can and can't say, and how to be respectful around adults, and them just make sure that we monitor in that regard. Hands-on approach. But I thought it was hysterical, and she just burst out laughing. It caught her totally off guard to see this felted friend curse. She couldn't wait for her sister to get home to tell her about it. You've got 2 new fans for sure. Okay, I've buried that stitch again, and I'm just going to continue. We're almost done. We're going to glue the hair on. That's going to be fun. I'm going to have feathers everywhere. Okay, we're going to leave about we're going to leave about 2 inches in the opening. I don't think we need that much, but just so that you can see how I'm going to stuff it. Okay. Almost done. He's coming along. He looks so cute. Thank you so much, Rainik. In fact, I hear my alarm going off on the stairs. I didn't leave quite at 2 inches. I left 1 inch, but that's okay. Yes, thank you, Rainik. I'm sorry, Autumn. I know that you started too. I hope that this isn't taking too much into that. We agreed that we would follow each other on Thursdays, but I do want to finish this little guy and not have to finish him next week. I should always have to factor in the inevitable me taking too much time threading a needle in my planning. I learned from a lot of this crafting from my grandmother, my Nana. She made ornaments for everyone in the family every Christmas, and I kind of took over after she passed away until it got to be way too many. I was making 3 dozen ornaments every year. It just got to be too much. But she taught me how to do all these stitches and how to stuff them just right. She always made sure that they were very firmly stuffed but not overstuffed. So I give my Nana credit for that. She's passed away a long time ago. She never even got to meet 2 of my kids. I have lots of kids. Some of you know that already. 3 of them still live at home, and one of them, the oldest one who's here, Drake, he's the one who produces my Tuesday show, and he's fun. He's fun to watch. We have good rapport. He's the one that got me into streaming. Okay, so I have stuffed his little head. Look at that, he looks so cute. I'm gonna do it a little bit more. I don't want to rush him. no, I'm sorry you had tech issues. You know, I think if you use Streamlabs chatbot, I know that they keep having these updates that makes you reset it all the time. It drives me crazy. Anytime I think I just need to come down and start the stream, it's like, nope, first you have to do all these things first. It's like, ah! Okay. And I'm not as savvy as some, so it's even harder for me, the old lady. Okay. I shouldn't say that. I've been a gamer, and it surprises people. I used to be... I mean, I met my husband on EverQuest, so I've been playing online games for a long time, and I kind of keep up with that. We play World of Warcraft and Destiny. Yeah. That's true. Okay, last stitch. And then to meet that final stitch where you started, just bring it over to that first stitch that you started to give that little bit of a finished look. There. And then we're going to tie a knot. I'm holding it firmly so that the knot is firm and also the knot isn't slack. There we go. And then I'm going to run that thread like I've done before up the back. Give it a gentle pull and trim it near the felt, and then that stitch disappears in. Oh, look at him! He's going to be much more cute with the hair on, though. He's a little baldy now. Okay. Yeah, Rainik was one of the players that we played with back in. I've known Rainik for a very long time. Okay, so we're onto the hair. This is the part that I was not sure how it was going to work. This is the tape that they put on it. There's going to be feathers everywhere, everybody. I'm not going to sew it. I'm going to glue it. Let's take this tape off. I think they think that's supposed to help it not unravel, but it's going to unravel. All right, so looking at the picture, he even joked about it yesterday that his hair is receding. I've heard of mist, but, oh, really? Oh, that's cool. I'll have to look it up. I've heard of it. And my husband probably had it downloaded at one time. I also played Guild Wars, and we are backers for Star Citizen whenever that decides to come out. All right, so hey, Danny, while you're here, how far in the back is his hair? Is it just a couple like this, like that, a couple layers, or is it just the one layer on the top? What do you think? Oh, you used to play EverQuest? Really? That's cool. It was, I played a barbarian shaman named Rajan, and that's where my avatar name came up back in 1999. Played since the beginning. Okay, so what do you think? Is it that one layer, or do you think 2 layers? Give him a little hair in the back. Halfway down the back of his head. Perfect. All right. So I'm gonna do the glue gun here. And we'll give this a try. And it's in the back, I know. It's receding. Okay, I'm just gonna hold that gently until that part dries and just glue it a little bit at a time. Okay. I mean, unless you intend to bounce him around the studio, he's pretty sturdy. Alright, let's keep going. Let's keep going around the back there. This one's a little easier. I'll go straight around the back. So soft. So about that far? Oh, cool. What did you end up using? Just a piece of fur? Because I did look for fur, but they didn't have any fur in this color. And they had a larger boa too, but it didn't make sense for the larger boa on his head. I didn't feel like trimming all those feathers. Yeah, the fur is really cool. I only had like 15 minutes to shop. Like I said, I was doing that while my 14-year-old was at choir. But we ran in quickly, battled Atlanta traffic, ran in, found this, looked briefly for the fur, and couldn't find the color. I'll just do one more layer. Is it about that far back? Yeah, I'll do one more layer and we'll cut it right there. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's perfect. There's feathers everywhere. Perfect then. All right. Oh my goodness, he's got fur all over his face. Poor cucumber. And that's the final. He's got it on his eyes. I'll have to get a lint brush for his face in a second. Okay. There we go. It's everywhere. All right, there is our... I think I got it too far down on the side, though. I think it's too far. I could trim it. Is it too far down on the side? It needs to be back a little bit. I could trim that up a little bit. And there he is. What do you think of cucumber, everybody? Talk about a fun last-minute idea for an ornament, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I will put it back on my face and say goodbye and remind everybody that it is the Nerdsmith sub drive. There's these feather boas hair everywhere. Oh my goodness. I'll have to get a... This is crazy. You know what? I'll keep it over there. I'll keep it over there. It's flying around in the camera. Okay. Let me go back to this. It's floating down in the... Go back here. Hi! Hello, it's me again. Thank you all so much for joining me. Here he is, our cute little cucumber. Thanks so much for being here, Danny, and everybody, and watching this fun stream. If you want to donate to become a subscriber for Nerdsmith, we would really appreciate it. It helps creators like me and all these wonderful people that are on the Nerdsmith creators and contributors continue bringing all this free fun stuff to you guys. Okay, that's it. Tomorrow night is 3 Sheets One Shot at 7 o'clock. I'll be continuing work on Aboard the Diamond's Light, the last bit of that. We're actually going to go on to D&D Beyond and create our big bad guy, which I think is Mirabella. It's an old socialite woman we've made her the bad guy. And don't forget, on Tuesday I've got Qyjari's Curious Crafts. I'll be continuing working on, I'm calling it Dunsby's Distillery, and it's directly related to the one shot I ran Tuesday night on Nerdsmith. So anyway, thanks again, guys, and have a good night. And we're gonna go raid Autumn in her channel and watch her draw. Bye.